Thank you for getting in touch and asking to find out more about the work that I'm doing with the Jordan Legacy, and in particular, the work around the zero suicide community strategy. As you know, I lost my son Jordan to suicide in December of 2019. And since that time, my world has changed completely, and I'm very much focused on how we can improve people's mental health and ultimately how we can prevent more suicides from taking place. What follows now is a short presentation where I'll outline the strategy that we have in place as the Jordan Legacy and how I hope we can make a difference, and importantly, how you can help and be involved.
The issue is this: one person dies from suicide every 40 seconds. That's 800,000 people globally. And with COVID-19 and the current lockdown, we're seeing the increased risk of suicide escalating through social isolation and loneliness, through people's fear of losing their jobs and a loss of income, and even, of course, of catching the infection itself. The analysis of past recessions is showing that for every 1% increase in unemployment, there is a corresponding 0.79% increase in suicide. However, we need to travel forward with hope. We know that most suicides are preventable if there are early identification of the danger signs, if there is early intervention and prevention measures put in place, and particularly if there is support for those bereaved by suicide who are at an increased risk of suicide themselves. At the Jordan Legacy, we're about taking action. It's not just about talking a good talk. We need practical actions in our communities and our workplaces to make them mentally healthy and psychologically much safer places to be in. On this graph, created by Paul Vittles, one of the Legacy's partners, you can see that there are two key areas that we want to focus on. On the left side, about creating optimal mental health environments in our communities and our workplace. On the right-hand side, to move toward a zero suicide outcome in our businesses and in our environments in the communities. Through this pyramid, you can see that there are two strategies. On the left, a top-down strategy. This requires leaders within organisations and businesses and governments to make sure that mental well-being and suicide prevention is a top priority. But on the right-hand side, ground-up leadership is about us. It's about people in the community. It's about people in businesses being able to implement practical actions and solutions to help prevent suicide. The Jordan Legacy has a 5-layer strategy that I'm going to take you through now, just step by step, each of the 5 areas you can see on the screen. It starts with community solutions. This is about helping to facilitate zero suicide plans within our communities by talking to individual businesses, schools, colleges, chambers of commerce, professional associations and industry bodies, major sports clubs and teams, all in our communities. We want to talk to them about how they can help and support the zero suicide plan. We need to be able to design out suicide. That means in all the places such as buildings, car parks, bridges, all those areas where people might choose to end their lives, that we're able to design out the option for them to be able to access these places. We need to be able to speak to businesses about their processes, maybe within manufacturing where people could be at risk. But we need to talk to architects, surveyors, design councils, engineering schools and colleges and construction firms and government planning departments. We need to look at how we design out suicide from our businesses and communities. Over 80% of those who take their lives work. The workplace is so important, and well-being within the workplace has never been more critical, particularly during the COVID pandemic. We need to work with businesses, we need to talk to organisations and their leaders about a ground-up and a top-down well-being culture in their business. We need to look at how well they're complying with HSE workplace stress risk assessments. Most businesses should have a really effective data-driven employee assessment process in place. And we can support this through the strategies and the partners that we work with in the Legacy. And we can also deliver our own in-house online workshops and talks around mental well-being and suicide prevention. We need to go out to our communities to look at the kind of life-saving systems, both digital and human, that we can put into our communities. This might be looking at data analysis or augmented intelligence solutions to help mitigate risk. Perhaps this is about permission-based tracking devices that people who are at risk and known to the mental health services can be tracked if they're going near any known suicide spots. Maybe this is about how we better analyse social media content to be able to respond and send messages of support where we feel somebody is at risk. Or perhaps you yourself can create something like care bags, or maybe it's just items that can be sold or marketed or shared and given away to people with messages of hope. These are known to work in other environments. There are case studies showing how care bags left at suicide spots with messages of hope and with emergency numbers do make a difference, and they do save lives. The fifth layer of our Zero Suicide Community Strategy is something very, very personal to myself and to everyone involved with the Jordan Legacy. When Jordan's girlfriend Charlotte asked him once, what would you do if you ever won the lottery? He was very clear. He said he would invest the money in a place where people who are struggling with their mental health can come to find peace and get well. Maybe your support of the Jordan Legacy is about helping us make that dream come true and be a reality for Jordan. The Jordan Legacy Zero Suicide Community Plan is about businesses and communities all working together. It's about taking practical action. So if you feel you can help, if you feel saving lives and preventing suicides is something that is important to you, then please get in touch and let's talk about how you can help specifically. You can contact me on this email address here or through LinkedIn or any of the usual channels. I'd be delighted to hear from you and to talk with you about how together we can help prevent suicide and save lives. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.